Hi everyone, you're very welcome to One Six Figure Focus, and this is episode number 42 of the Visions live streams, where every single different stream I sit down and discuss the past, the present, and the future of one collector's journey. Now, this next guy, he's a 1/6 scale collector. He's been a panelist on the show before. He's been a panelist on Mr. Mom's Collectibles live streams Sunday nights before. He's an interesting username that I try to avoid saying because I don't want to get clipped and gift. An all-around nice guy, and he's also a channel member, so shout out to all the troopers and commanders and channel memberships. So I'll bring this guy in now. I say hello. Mike, how you doing, buddy?
I'm all right.
How was your day?
Good. It was excellent, man. Excellent. Thank you for having me, and thanks to the chat for saying hello already.
No problem, no problem. I'm gonna check out the chat now in 1 second. I get a bit of chill background music going on. So, yeah. So what's the weather like over there? You're in New Jersey, would that be right?
I am. Yeah, the weather actually today is beautiful. We're finally past all the Canadian smoke from those fires, and the weather's really, really nice.
Canadian and smoke. Yeah. Those two words just go very well together. I've met
I gotta say, we're this for you, buddy.
Brilliant. Yeah, I love it. I love it. Yeah,
it's a little hot in here. It's a little hot in here, so I might have to take this coat off.
Ah, man, you went all out. You went all out. Nostromo and the old Wayland Dutini. Good stuff.
I might have to take this hoodie off for you.
Look at this guy flexing straight away. So you got the full kit on, man.
Yeah.
If you're wearing a t-shirt underneath that now, there's gonna be problems.
I'm actually wearing the Star Wars shirt, but my arm's a little itchy. My arm is a little itchy.
Ah, cool. You got the old the big chap there. Good stuff.
Yeah.
You know someone's a fan when they ink their body.
Right?
Yeah. And tell me, I gotta ask you a question. I presume the answer is one or two, but what's your favorite Aliens movie?
Man, it goes back and forth from one or two. You're right. Any day of the week, I guess I'll have to say one. Let's go with one. That's where it started.
Yeah. I always kind of lean towards two. However, sometimes I kind of like, especially around Halloween, I'm watching the first one. I'm like, you know, this movie was released in like 1979, I think, and I was like, if it wasn't for this, we wouldn't have Aliens. In the same way, if it wasn't for the first Terminator movie, we wouldn't have the second one. But I have a funny story for you. You probably heard this already, but so stop me if you've heard it before. But do you know how Ridley Scott came up with the name for Wayland Utini?
No.
Have you ever heard the story before? I'm pretty sure it was Ridley Scott. Because Ridley Scott directed the first one, yeah? And then Cameron directed the second one.
Okay, because I thought it was Cameron, but go ahead, educate me here.
What do you mean?
I thought
the first
Cameron
one?
came up with Wayland Yutani, but I could be wrong.
It could have been. I can't remember. I thought it was Ridley Scott, but I can't remember precisely which director it was. But I do know that they named it after a neighbor that they didn't like. You know, so somewhere out there, Wayland Utini is going, you know, watching this, going, "Hey, this is strange," you know. So
I hope that he sent him a neighbor.
Yeah,
that's great.
Look, I'm going to address the chat real quickly before we get started on this. I want to make sure I got my slides and everything ready. So as well. So make sure I got this. Kind of. Yeah, there we go. All right. I'll go deal with that in a minute. Right, we'll go through the chat. All right. So we've got in the chat we've got Eddie Rodriguez. Thanks very much for being here. Really appreciate it. We got Blue Tattoo as well. Excellent to see you here again. He was on an episode of Visions there a few weeks back. Josh,
I saw that one.
A brother of Stefan, so of S Beam. So yeah, really nice guy as well. Thanks very much for being here, Josh. We got Payton23, channel member. We got Mike in the chat as well. So he's in the chat. He's on the screen. We got Shiny. This is going to be somewhat. Having interviewed many of the well-known faces of the community, focus is now moved. Oh my God, I'm moving on from that channel. You got me there, Shiny. Yeah, I'm gonna get myself in trouble here. Talia Meyer, just again, I'm not being prudish. Like, I do have a sense of humor. It's just with the profession. Like, I tend to just avoid certain things. You see me on certain live stream, the conversation will get a little spicy, and I'll just go like this.
Yep,
and I just be laughing to myself, you know. Talia Meyer, all the way from Germany. Thanks very much for being here. We also got, who else we got inside here? We got Eddie Rodriguez. God, my God, use your words, Shane. As we got now all okay, right? They're actually going nuts here now with the this reminds me of those old episodes of Simpsons when it's
Simpsons.
like Seymour Butts and IP Freely and all this when they used to phone Moe's. X-Man Supreme, Dave Owens. Actually, massive shout out to Dave Owens, X-Man Supreme. I hope I probably shouldn't have used your name there. I apologize, but X-Man Supreme dropped a super chat, a $4.99 super chat. Just as I hit the outro yesterday, I didn't see anything after I cut the stream, but I hit him up on Instagram. Thank you very much. And I sent on that Jaws link that Dan was speaking of as well. We got Big Rib here as well. X-Man Supreme saying, New Jersey, awesome. I worked a few events at the Atlantic City Convention Center there, the boardwalk. Love those Jersey girls. That's funny. So we got Brandon Sal in here as well. Excellent stuff. So we're up to date with the chat. Massive shout out to all channel members, troopers, commanders, everyone's here, subscribers and all that. Just greatly appreciate the support. I'm sure Mike does too. So basically, I got to go through this. I'm going to give the nod to the channel members. So really quickly going to go through those troopers. We got Stephen Rinks, we got Mike, we got Payton23, we got Mugwump, Andre, Chudy, Bendu Windu, we got Collector Joey, Ryan Smith, and then the commanders, we got Alan, 6-Scale Gallery, X-Man Supremes in the building as well, 12-inch Moose Stream, we got Philip the Fool, we got Keith, the 6-Scale Padawan, Mark Mitchell, William Owens, Brandon Salad, Phil, Empire Strikes Again, Collecting Weekly, they're a big deal, people know them, Boba Fettuccine, the tastiest, 6-Scale username in the community. Just a few new videos that are up there, DX13 review, DX23 review, thoughts on Loki, Flash, Inarts, Superman's boots. Actually, Shiny, shout out to Shiny. He won the internet today. He said, what did he say? He commented on, I put up a video on this, just kind of reaction video to what this could be. Well, we know what it is, but as in, just my thoughts on it and stuff like that. And he said, I gotta get this here. Sorry.
No, you gotta get this one right. Sounds good.
It was one of his finer works. So this video, I just saw the comment on it today. Let me get this. So published, I have responded. I responded. I want to get this one. Yeah. So he comments on this. He said, not in art news, but in art shoes, spelled SHEWS. That's just my dad type of humor right there. But yeah, it was funny. And we got Philip the Fool as well saying hello in here as well. So, new streams. The Hope Show episode 1 to 6 are now live. That's Greenwich Mean Time every single Monday at 8 p.m, which is 3 p.m. Eastern Time and midday West Coast. We're up to episode 7 now, and every single episode is some sort of a focus, pun very much intended, some sort of a topic. Maybe people can maybe find some entertainment in them, or potentially maybe there's something. I got a message today. They really appreciated the conversation myself, you and Dan had last night about deciding what's important and how do we do that and stuff like that. And that's definitely something that I think a lot of collectors experience at some point or another. Visions episode 1, number 41 with the collector Joey, and now we have the man himself. Now I'm going to put this man under pressure right from the start. There is no escape. Right from the start, we're gonna get this man under pressure. All right. So, what was the last thing you pre-ordered and why?
Oh, this is funny. So we were just talking about this yesterday. Remember the Batman?
Yeah. Which one again? Sorry.
There's so many. So
the one you bought two of.
Batman. No, I actually pre-ordered something today, and it
interesting.
was the Pattinson Batman with a light. That's it.
You went deluxe.
I did. I went deluxe with the bat signal.
With the bat signal, good stuff.
Yeah.
So that's actually a pretty nice set. It kind of comes with a lot. Like, it comes with that modular base as well, and the squirrel suit, which a lot of people are saying no one's going to pose him like that.
I don't think so. Yeah.
Watch me. I'll do it once just to prove everyone wrong. I'm looking up here at this floating shelf of my just in the corner of the room there. He looked great there, about to leap off that base, but
it's Squirrel Man.
Yeah. So you who did you pick that up from, or do you prefer not to say? Or
no, I don't mind. Collector's Outpost.
So are they US based?
They are, yeah. And it's the first thing I've ordered from them, so I will see. But I always do this. I call if first of all, I won't order from someplace that doesn't have a phone number.
Oh, well,
Get
yeah,
a phone number.
Clever, yeah.
I called. They sounded very professional, and so we'll see. But all my transactions are through PayPal always. So
Yeah,
in case
yeah,
I need to
so
fight it, you know.
you can get that support. No, that is fair enough. And then again, that's something as well that I think maybe I'm being optimistic, but probably 90% of places you won't have to fight it, but it's just that 10% that you may need that security. So that's I think that's solid advice in any online purchase, really. The PayPal protection. How long does it last? How long can you claim if something goes south?
Never had to do it before.
Yeah.
So I got to reread that fine print.
Is it 90 days maybe, or maybe
it
it's
might
longer?
be.
Yeah. If anyone knows it in the chat, like, so the question was like, if you paid for something through PayPal and you're not happy with it, or maybe you don't receive something, how long do you have? What's the window where you can open up an appeal and try and get something back? That'd be definitely very helpful to know. So first of all, I'm going to put up. Right, what are we going to do? A little ticker. So we're going to start off with the past. Really, they're not here to listen to me; they're here to listen to you. So I'm really curious to hear your story, because I love talking to collectors about how they started on this rabbit hole addiction, whatever you want to call it. So again, as usual, I'm going to belt out a few questions. Don't feel obligated to answer every single or remember every single one of them, but just to kind of like just scaffolding points to kind of get the ball rolling here. So what I'd want to know, and I'm sure the chat want to know as well, is what was your first ever 1/6 scale collectible? Was it a Hot Toys? Was it a Sideshow? Was it a third party? When did you get it? Who did you buy it from? Why did you buy it? Why was it that particular figure that you bought? And like when you bought it, did you think like, oh, this is just a one and done, I can handle it? Or did you know, nah, I'm going down a rabbit hole there? Did you collect anything else at the time? Just like dial us back to that first incident. How did you hear about it? And we'll just listen. Go for it.
Sure. Yeah, well, like a lot of us, I was always a collector of things. And but my first 1/6 scale was actually this guy right here. I anticipated this question.
Is it BB-8?
Yeah, it's BB-8. Yeah. Now, this was right after The Force Awakens came out, and there was still a lot of positivity, myself included, for the sequel trilogy, you know?
I would agree. Force Awakens wasn't a complete disaster. There was potential. There was potential. And a lot of
people were already... and people were already like negative on it, but I said, hold on, there's 2 more films. I'm sure they've got a plan. Well, not quite.
That would have been great. But I love your positivity.
And but that was the only thing I collected from that film, and it was mostly because I was fascinated by the mechanics of this new droid. It was pretty awesome. I mean, when we first saw him in that first trailer, it was like a round droid with a head that stays put and the ball move. You know, it was just cool. And I went to Comic-Con that year, and I met the owner of the company Sphero, who was making these as like actual toys. And a long conversation with him about it. Yeah, it was great. Great guy, cool company, very cool toy at the time. And I just wanted the more detailed Hot Toys representation of it. And it's got a battery in there, it lights up and all. But so that was 2016. I bought that on eBay, and it was split from the Rey set. I didn't want the Rey figure. I didn't dislike her or anything. Just back then, the face sculpts weren't as strong as they are now, and I really just needed him. So that was it until a few years later, I got the Mondo 6 scale figures. They were based off the Mirage comics, but done in the 80s toy colors. So like Donatello was a little darker. You know, they had the original toy colors, but done in the style of the Mirage comics. And those are awesome. Those are great. So I got those, and a couple other here and there. But really for me, Hot Toys actually began, I don't really count that figure. That was a one-off. So I'm really relatively new to Hot Toys collecting. Prior to that, it was statues, got a bunch of Prime 1 and PCS and stuff like that. But Hot Toys was this past November during the BOGO. They got me. So
you're a relatively new 1/6 scale or Hot Toys collector.
Yes.
Yeah. But that's interesting, because like because a lot of time when I do these, like a lot of time, to be honest, it's content creators that come on the show. And there has been, of course, people who aren't content creators who come on the show, but it's interesting to catch someone who's like relatively new and kind of like their thoughts on like how to manage themselves. Because I'm talking to you yesterday, you have a pretty good handle on like, okay, I'm not just going to go down that line. I'm going to put guardrails on my collection. I'm definitely going to use that at some stage. But I'll credit you. But sorry, continue on.
No, yeah, you're right. So even though I'm one of those people, for example, I'm a terrible guitar player, but I can sit there and watch Rick Beato or whomever's channel about guitar playing and music theory and stuff, and it's all like, whew, but I'm fascinated by the subject. And so I've always been that way about 1/6 and Hot Toys. So I've been watching Justin for years, Dean Knight for years. I've always loved Michael Myers. I've painted my own masks, and he's big into that. And so his passion for 1/6 was always something I loved. And I could watch a video just based on how into it he was. And I just never took the plunge because I understood fundamentally myself how I am when I get into a new hobby and how addicting 1/6 could be. And I already had enough, within the 7-inch figures, statues, comic books. I'm a big comic book collector as well. So I just didn't necessarily have any more either funds or room for 1/6. But that changed this November. I made a decision to stop buying certain things, move on from some things and sell them. So I had a little bit of a war chest to enter the Hot Toys market. And so, I made that decision in November. But it all, like for a lot of people, it was all fueled by the prior couple years. This is the result of when the world ended in 2020, basically. And I can talk about that a little more if you'd like to hear that. I don't know.
Yeah. What do you mean by that exactly? There was.
So one reason. Yeah, go ahead.
No, if you're happy enough to share it.
Oh yeah, sure. So I've always loved Star Wars since I was a kid. I think the first time I had seen Sideshow's presentation of the product was at 2012 Comic-Con. And I always thought it was cool, but I was never quite ready to get into it. And then as the years went on, I feel like I missed so much. I didn't want to go backwards and pay eBay for the original trilogy stuff that I had missed and everything. So I sort of felt like I missed a window to have a collection I'd be really happy with. But then in 2020, when everything happened, it was a dark time for all of us. Personally, I was going through we were trying to have a baby unsuccessfully for some time. And we walked into the Lego store and I saw that big Millennium Falcon. And I said, oh God, I want that, And I'm talking to the kid in there and he's like, yeah, but what about this too? This is cool. This is a gunship. And I go, a gunship? Kid, look at me. You think I want a prequels thing, buddy? No, give me that AT-AT.
This is not my first day.
Yeah, right. I felt like Han Solo. I was like, kid, I've been all over the galaxy, and nobody can convince me.
That's funny.
My wife and I, we got really into doing Lego together. That was our escape from the dreariness of that year.
That's awesome.
It was wonderful.
I love that.
It was a great thing, to share together. But eventually I ran out of original trilogy Lego items to buy. And so I'm looking at the stuff and I'm like, oh, this set is a fight between Maul and Ahsoka. And I'm realizing all of these stories that I vaguely know of from being a fan, but I don't really know. And I said, let me go back and try to get through the Clone Wars because that movie is so rough, as you know, from recent experience. And my wife and I sat there and we watched it. We watched season 1 and 2. And again, this was something that we shared. She loved it as much as I did. And we totally fell in love with a whole new corner. I can't even call it a corner at this point. It's like, 3/4 of the Star Wars universe, the Clone Wars and the Bad Batch and all these animated shows. And it was something that we shared together. Because I didn't share the original trilogy with her. I grew up with that and way before I met my wife. But we shared this together. And I went back and watched the prequels. I got to tell you, I fell in love with them. I was an old grumpy prequel hater. And
get off of my lawn.
Get off my lawn. That's what, Exactly, man. Exactly. Which is why I've reached out to you several times in the comments. I was like, Shane, just finished Clone Wars. Trust me, it's great. And I'm one of those annoying people that's like, no, you got to do it.
It's going to happen. It's going to happen. I fell behind. I was doing really good, and then I stalled. It's because of the hot weather here. I don't want to watch TV during the day, and then I stream it at night a lot of time. But sorry, continue on.
Yeah, so it opened up this whole new window of Star Wars for me. and I happened to be on Sideshow just browsing around in November. They were having that kind of American Thanksgiving time period where they were doing the BOGO. And I go, honey, look at this. They have Ahsoka from Clone Wars version, Anakin Clone Wars, Cad Bane, and all these characters that we had really come to know and love through this show. And I said, and there's a deal on them. And I said, you know what? This might be the universe telling me like it's time to jump in. And so that's why I added that guardrail, which is what I said, you know what, honey, if I do this, I'm going to be a Clone Wars and prequel collector, because I sort of saw where I thought Hot Toys was going, which was this push towards that stuff. And it seems like I was right, because it does, and then shortly thereafter, a month or two, they announced the Clone Wars 20th anniversary stuff. And I was like, yeah, I think I took the right gamble. So that's what I've been focused on. You could see some of my collection behind me. So that's kind of how it all happened, man. And I just got to take a second to say that my parents watched the show yesterday. My brother told them that I was on it. And I was like,
cool.
Oh no, because I was a little bit. My father is my favorite person in the world, but he's a little old school. He's not necessarily a toy collector, But my father and my mother called me up after they watched it, and they were like, we loved it. I didn't think they would be able to get past 5 minutes of it because it's not their world. Yeah. But Shane, I'll tell you what they loved about it, and this is what I think we all connect with, is a passion for something. It's why you can watch a documentary about something you've never heard of before.
Oh my God, that's so true. That is so true.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so true. They were captivated by the passion that was coming through you and Don and myself, and, or Dan, I'm sorry. And so it just reminded me how infectious that is and how important that is to all of us as individuals. The world can be, like I said, with 2020, a sad place, but it's easy to find sadness and darkness. You have to work to find passion and joy.
That's 100%. That's 100%.
And you have to, and that's all of our individual responsibilities, to find what brings us joy and passion. And George Lucas's Star Wars, for me, helped me and my wife through a dark time.
No, I love that. I love every bit of that story. That's great, because it's like with 2020, like at some point everyone just like cleared Netflix. When people finish a game, cleared it. I think everyone just cleared Netflix. We're like, Disney Plus cleared it, Netflix cleared it, Paramount Plus cleared it, ended it twice.
Single guys at the end of Tinder, they're like, what happened? Tinder ended,
That's funny.
So everyone went through.
That's brilliant. That was brilliant.
But it happened to all of us, and for us, like we made certain medical choices that cost my wife her job. I got kicked out of the military. It was rough, but we had this extra time on our hands, and we found something that we can further connect with, and I hope a lot of other people were able to find that for themselves too. So. Yeah, and I wouldn't be here. Like, I wouldn't be talking to you. I wouldn't know you. I wouldn't know all these people in this community. And you guys, like the people in the chat and yourself and other channels that I follow, you guys helped me through a lot of that. Because I don't really, like most of us, have a lot of people in my real life I can share this with. And so,
no, like that's really a common theme. That's a common theme, isn't it? Like, it's like I've said it before, and I explained to yourself and Dan, he was backstage yesterday. Like, I have a lot of collecting is, it's not my life. It's part of my life, and art has always been a part of my life, and movies and TV shows have been part of my life, and collecting, but it's not like my life. It's just one part. Like, I love to snowboard. I love to mountain bike. I'm big into exercise, running. I like to travel. I used to read a lot. I don't read as much as I should now, to be honest. YouTube is definitely cut into that. But like it's for all those different things. Like, I have multiple friends who are into running that I can go, here, look, do you want to do a 10K or half marathon or something like that, on this date, and we can train for it and stuff like that. And it's a way of meeting that particular mate, catching up with them. How are the kids? How's the wife? How's work going? You have your running, and or you can plan a snowboarding trip with someone else, or my girlfriend mountain bikes. And there's a lot. So for all of my passions and hobbies, I've got someone I can share that with. But collecting, it was like, as much as my mates are into music and they're into good TV shows and movie fans, no one collects. So it's that one kind of hobby you're like, I can't bounce this off someone, without them glazing over. And it just like I can totally relate to that. How sometimes the community can more often than not, the community can definitely help people in that way, because you can connect about something that maybe in your local area your friends who live down the road from you or in your vicinity don't actually collect. I remember the 6 scale scavengers during 2020. Like, I'd been following, I suppose, Justin and Jed and all them since maybe 2017, 18, I'm not entirely sure. But in terms of watching live streams, a lot of that would have started in 2020 because, tapped out on Netflix and yada, yada, yada. But it was more than just watching a story. It felt like, okay, here are a bunch of people who were talking about these collectibles and inadvertently talking about these characters from movies that I have either, loved, but maybe they're new, like The Mandalorian, or maybe they're old, 1989 Batman. But they're talking just as passionately as I would. And I feel like I'm part of the conversation, because if I type a comment, sometimes they read it out and address it. And I felt that kind of communication, like, we had a 5 kilometer radius. We couldn't run more than 5 kilometer. Pubs were closed, cinemas were closed, cafes were closed. You couldn't go shopping. That was it. So having, like a lot of other people, but having that conversation in the room, I was like, I feel like I'm actually talking to people here.
Yes.
Which is cool.
Yes.
And I presume, like, I'm preaching to the choir here, but like, yeah, it's for every, we definitely all were helped, I think, by YouTubers who did live streams at the time.
Something else too, it's also not a hobby we wear on our sleeves. So, I could say to somebody at work, like, oh, I had a cigar last night. I go, you smoke cigars? But I can't say, like, posing a figure. And he's like, you pose figures? It's not something that because I worked with a guy for I knew him for years. I only found out recently he collects hot toys because I happened to go over his house. Yeah. And I'm like, dude, and we never share that with one another because it's just not something like you talk about at work. Do you know what I mean? No,
it's not.
There's the secret collector out there that you may know who doesn't know you collect.
Yeah, there is. They're out there. They're out there.
Yeah.
But so your first officially your first was BB-8. But then you said after that you got into the BOGO, and what did you pick up then from the BOGO in November?
So I did 4. It was Ahsoka, Anakin on Stap, a Death Watch Mandalorian, and oh god, what is the other one? There's a 4th one. Rex. Yep. So those 4.
So, Ahsoka, Rex, Anakin on the Staff. What was the last one?
Yep. Death Watch Mandalorian.
The Death Watch Mandalorian. Good stuff. We got Graham, the Jedi Night's Watch here. Great guy. And I was on with him and Dilo and Brick Artemis there last week. I had to leave a little early because it was like 5 o'clock in the morning or something.
I actually remember that.
I fought a good fight. Yeah, I fought a good fight, but just really always like going on the channel. It's just,
he's a good dude.
A comfortable, good channel. It's just passionate, no drama or anything like that, which is, in fairness, most of the channels are like that. But I really liked that channel. I always have time for those guys. So then, like, at the time then, were you like, okay, this is it, these are my 4, that's my collection, or were you like,
absolutely
no,
not.
This is it? Yeah.
I knew it's all over, dude. Like I said, I said, well, this is the dive in, and I can build a collection around these guys. So I knew I was in for the long haul right away.
Yeah,
because like I said, I knew what I was getting into, and I'd been a fan from afar for a while, and then I saw my opportunity to get in. And the funny thing is, I'd been commenting with my real name for months, and I was having a great time. And I just changed the name as a joke for a day because I had a premonition that a particular person on YouTube during a live stream was going to say it, and it would be extra funny, and it worked out perfectly. And he didn't get it. Everyone else on the panel got it, and it was just funny. And I was going to change it.
Yeah.
And but after seeing everyone's reaction, I was like, how can I change it now? And then Mr. Mom, who I became friendly with, was like, no, dude, you can never change that name. I was like, all right, I'm stuck with it now. But it was only meant to be a joke for a day.
Yeah, I know. It's funny. It's funny. I've seen a few YouTubers get caught with, I've seen 1 or 2 get caught with your one, and then there's a few other just random ones. I think sometimes people change their names just for like a day or like a live stream, because if one person does it, a lot of people do it then, but it's quite funny.
Yeah.
But so I just want to move on to. Oops, I usually like to get people mid-sentence with these ones, but all right, I'm gonna go to the question bank. Right. So what do I want to know? Sorry, I'm gonna go through a few of these. This is okay. Well, this is kind of an oldie, but we kind of touched on it last night. But what are your overall thoughts on in art? Because it's there's definitely like I've seen people out there sometimes in the community on Facebook or whatever, and sometimes there's a bit like you're either with them or you're against them. You're either like an in art fanboy or you're like completely against them. You know what I mean? I think maybe somewhere in between is where I rest. Is like, you know, I'll take it on a case by case basis. You know, I don't think they're a Hot Toys killer, but I do think there's just the one figure I have from it's pretty damn premium. Like, but what are your thoughts? Where do you stand with the in art buzz? You think that you talk and I'll listen.
Yeah, I think I'm somewhere same place you are. I think competition breeds excellence. I think it's exciting, to be honest with you. And maybe should they produce a figure I want? Yeah, they'll be competing against Hot Toys for me personally, but that's okay. I like having more options. I think it's really exciting. I do think it is funny how some people have kind of dug their heels in and said, no, I'm one or the other. I'm DC or Marvel kind of fight again, right? Mm-hmm. But I don't know. And I don't fault people for feeling however they feel about it. I just personally don't feel that way. Mm-hmm. I'm excited by it. It's really cool. Like that Harry Potter figure. Yeah. Thank God I'm not like, I don't need it. Thank God, you know? Because
I know exactly what you mean. Sometimes I'm like this. Oh, thank God it's a Harry Potter figure. As in, like, I could admire this and I don't have to, like, that Aragorn, man, they nearly got me with that, like, because if that turns out as good as the prototype, that is phenomenal looking. Like,
it's phenomenal.
I know we do have to wait for the prototype because, you know, typically there'll be that, like, little bit of a drop down quality, but it's so bloody good. That nearly got me, but I've stayed strong so far. But yeah, I do be looking at them like this going, oh, don't be good or don't be something I like. Thankfully, it's the only ones I was kind of the only one. The Joker was an instant. Yeah, I was like, this. I need this in my life.
I understand.
This is happening.
So let me ask you about that Aragorn, for example. So the reason I haven't taken the plunge, because the Gandalf looks awesome too. Those might be the only two they do.
Could be.
We don't know. And so I'm the type of collector that says, would I feel okay just having those two figures from this franchise? Mm-hmm. Whereas if they said, hey, we're going to come out with 8, and here's kind of like prototypes or silhouettes or something like we talked about yesterday, then I can look at it and say, okay, that's something I can plan for, count on, imagine how that's all going to look on the shelf. You know what I mean? And then they might get my pre-order for the Aragorn or the Gandalf.
Yeah, I get you. Yeah, no, I get you.
And I can visualize the future of the collection.
Yeah, that like a roadmap. Because even if you had shadows, and we could, with the amount of expertise in the community, people would be like, yeah, that shadow is this, that shadow is this, and this shadow is this, and then you can kind of go, okay, I know there's another company making X, so maybe I'm gonna hold off on that and get that same figure from this crowd, or maybe you can kind of go, okay, that means I'm not gonna have this particular one. You can forward plan basically, like in a bit better, like how sometimes Hot Toys will do it. They did one back. Back in? I think it was the start of the year or something, like they did that with the DeLorean on it and all those other figures and stuff like that, and they're all out now and stuff, and that would make sense. And yeah, no, I think that's a fair point. It's that Aragorn, yeah, my God, it's a beautiful piece, but I always say I'm a fan of the Lord of the Rings movies, the original trilogy, but I wouldn't be like a massive Lord of the Rings fan in general. Like, I haven't read the books, I don't really know about the extended lore or something like that, and but the Aragorn, I was thinking, could you get it, and that'd be your one Lord of the Rings representation, but I still think I'd just be falling into the hype and the FOMO then. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do know what you mean. Yeah, but when you see those reviews and then it's sold out,
Yeah, yeah.
Could be
I think I just have to
crushing.
make my peace with it, you know.
Yeah, we do.
Whereas something like with the Joker, I was like, no, this makes too much sense just to get this. Like, as expensive as it
Yeah.
was, but yeah, no, that was good. I enjoyed that. That's a good. I'm glad I asked that particular question. So you wouldn't write them off. You're kind of going to take it on a case by case and see if they make something
Definitely.
you're into.
I'm excited
Cool.
for it. Yeah.
Good stuff. Good stuff. All right, so I just want to address one or two of these chats here. Chuli giving a direct order, smash the like button. Thanks very much for being here. We got Aragorn is going to be my first endeavor with in art. Good stuff, Bard. Obviously a big Lord of the Rings. Shane, you can get him to say his own name. Everyone's trying to get me to say the name. It's like, I'm not doing it. It's actually so exciting to get a huge Lord of the Rings fan getting super high quality figures. The Gandalf is one of the best head sculpt I've seen. I can't tell if I can never tell if shiny is serious or not. Sometimes like he says these things and I'm like, that's hilarious, and then I
Yeah,
read
it's
something
funny.
that's kind of serious and I'm like, where's the punchline? You know what I mean? But so it's actually
I think he's serious here.
it's actually so exciting as a huge Lord of the Rings fan, getting super high quality figures made. The Gandalf one is one of the best head sculpts I've seen. Do you like the Gandalf one? I think it's pretty damn good. I actually think it's very
It is.
good. That Aragorn is
The more we talk about it.
Yeah. I'm glad that I'm not collecting a lot of the characters in art is making because they're amazing looking and they are expensive as well. All right, so like we're going to move on to the present. So like again, like you got your first Hot Toys a few years ago, BB-8, and then you started, you know, the watershed definitely opened with the BOGO in November. So like I'm just gonna like this doesn't, you don't have to only make it exclusive about 1/6 or Hot Toys. You can kind of mention if you have any. You did mention statues. Do you still have any statues? So like where are you at the moment? Like how many 1/6 scale do you have, or how many Hot Toys? You don't have to give any exact number or anything. Statues. I see a few helmets there behind yourself there. Do you is that like a full-on arcade game you got?
Yeah, it's the TMNT. Yeah, it's the Turtles
That is
game.
awesome, and it's
Pretty
like
awesome.
fully workable and everything. Like you just play away.
Totally, yeah. I actually have this to protect. We've got some cats, and if you have cats, you know they can destroy anything.
Yeah, I see.
But yeah, man.
So that's just like one of the normal like arcade slot machines that you obviously don't have a. That's actually that's a good question. That's like I've only ever played them like in, you know, an arcade, or sometimes they had them in pubs and stuff like that. Like my granddad used to own a pub, like, and there was always one of them, and every few months it got swapped out. I specifically remember playing an Aliens one. Oh, you're talking
yeah.
like in the 90s, like, you know, and I thought it was the coolest thing ever. And the thing is, like, my uncle at one stage, like, I think it was in the back, maybe their contract had finished, something like that, but it got to the stage where he just opened up the thing for me and goes, yeah, look, if you want to play the game, like you just click this little button, as in he'd opened up the thing where the coin went in. I just clicked the yoke and I was like, this is awesome. But
unlimited power.
yeah, exactly. It's out like this is the bee's knees. Like, but with something like that, when you buy it yourself, like, is the coin slot still there, or is it just a completely modded one where you just turn it on and play away?
It's just a modded one. Yeah, there's no
Gotcha,
coin slot.
yeah.
I think there are some out there that replicate them to be a little more exact as you remember them. But no, this one's just made for just having fun at home, and it's not an exact one-to-one, but it's an approximation.
That's pretty damn cool.
Yeah,
I see Mafia
cool too.
has.
It comes with a. Go ahead.
Go on. No, go on.
Oh no, it comes with a riser that you don't have to use. So it's like, you know, for a 4-year-old can stand right at it and play.
Brilliant. Yeah.
So I've got it up on the riser now, but as my son gets older, we'll make it more accessible for him. Probably.
That's cool. So Logan's, is it 5.5 months?
5.5. Yep.
5.5 months. So is that your first? Yeah.
My first. Yeah. Started a little late.
Yeah.
My time.
Man, I think there's only a few years between us, man. You know, so you're ahead of me. So Logan is just in case anyone didn't see the show last night. Logan is Mike's son. So he's wearing a Wolverine onesie yesterday. He definitely has been doing some crunches or something. The guy's
Flexed for
pretty
you,
ripped,
yeah.
like, yeah.
You know what's so funny, dude? I don't dress him as Wolverine every day, I swear. And I had no idea I was coming on your channel. And then
Yeah,
all of
yeah,
a
yeah,
sudden I was like, oh, this is perfect. Look at my little guy
yeah,
dressed as
yeah.
Wolverine.
And the fact that his name is Logan, I was like, this is too
Yeah,
perfect. This is too
it
perfect.
worked out.
Yeah. But so like, just where are you at now with your collecting? Like, you know, is it you mentioned comics, you mentioned statues, obviously 6 scale, like, so where are you at now?
Well, I'll start by saying that you have a rule of only buy what you can display.
Hmm.
And I have broken that rule consistently since November.
I love
Because, well,
it.
since my son was born, really, since my son was born, because this, what you see behind you, is just like, I just threw this up just so I can have something of mine on display, because he took the display room. So
Yeah.
Thrawn's office became my son's nursery. So all of that
Mhm.
stuff, most of it went into storage. And so I've just got like a hodgepodge of stuff that
Mhm.
I like. I have Luke lights for these, but they're in storage. I have a Maji case on the way before I knew of Costa cases. Otherwise, I might not have
Mhm.
bought it. But I've got a Maji case coming, and this is all for the man cave that I plan on having when my wife and
Mhm.
I buy a house. Right now, we're in an
Ah,
apartment, and
and
so
and
I am
that's
breaking
actually
your
one of the
rule.
questions. That's one of the
Yeah.
questions that I'm gonna lead up to in the future. But like,
Yeah.
you touch on a very very real, um, a very very real like point. Like, I mentioned earlier on that, like, you know, collecting is part of my life, but it's not my life. Things are gonna change eventually. You know what I mean? And it's like just what you said there. Like, you know, obviously you had a kid, and obviously the kid is, you know, your family is that's number one. Like, that's the priority, and
Absolutely.
just like,
Yep.
so that kind of it causes things to change and shift and evolve. Like, so like, yeah, like, as in, like, I say things like rules, but I break my own rules from time to time as well. But I wouldn't even
Oh,
consider that a rule break. I would consider that this this takes precedent end of, like, you know what I mean?
oh
It's like,
yeah,
do you know
yeah,
what I
yeah.
mean? Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely. It was like the one life change that could happen for me to get rid of my collection, that I'd be
Hmm.
like, sure, that's a trade-off that I'll
Yeah,
happily
yeah,
take,
100%.
And so yeah, one day I'll have it all back out and displayed.
Hmm.
But man,
Hmm.
as you know, it is so much work to get all this stuff how you want it, and then
Oh
so
yeah,
much work to tear it down.
yeah,
These are
yeah,
such a pain in the butt to tear down and move, but
yeah. And even I've heard people who have moved them said you're better off just if you're renting a van or something like that, instead of like disassembling them completely, just like get people to carry them out and lay them, like put them some sort of soft like mattress, or not mattress, like soft blankets and stuff like that down on the
mhm.
floor of the van, and then have them lying down with the doors up. But you can even like put something like inside in them, and like kind of in between the, you know, the door closes over, so if that does bang in transport, that it's not smashing, stuff like that, instead of just like disassembling the whole thing, like. But
Yeah. You know what I did that
yeah.
might also be helpful for people? Because we were living in a one bedroom across the street. We moved across the street to a two bedroom. So I didn't have to drive
Hmm.
very far. But
Hmm.
what I actually did was just take the top off.
Hmm.
And then I was able to remove the panels of glass, and I transported them in some moving blankets.
Ah, right,
But,
yeah,
but
yeah.
I kept the those kind of metal pillars in and everything.
Hmm.
So I didn't do anything to the bottom.
Hmm.
So like I just put those down, set up. It really wasn't hard to
Hmm.
disassemble, and it saved me a lot of stress hitting a
Yeah, yeah,
speed bump or
absolutely, yeah.
something.
Good
But
stuff.
either way,
And you mentioned you've ordered module cases, yeah?
yes, yep.
And what did you go for?
I went for the it's called the sixth 2204 or something like that. It's basically the sixth series, but they're twice as long as the standard.
Hmm.
So I got the wall unit.
Right.
So it comes with four of the longer six series, but then on the end, it's two vertical ones
Ah,
that come
right.
with two shelves. And I did that so that I can have obviously some opportunity to put taller things along
Hmm.
those two sides.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
So,
Along those
so
two
like
cases on the
statues
side.
or
Yeah,
something. So like they
give you a
they'd
little
have some
flexibility.
horizontal ones, and then at the end there were some vertical ones. Yeah, I
Yep, there's
like that.
two
So
vertical
it's a
ones
kind of
stacked.
asymmetrical design, like.
Hmm.
Yeah, and you know that's that's something like, as much as I enjoy symmetry, but I that sounds like the nerd. That's okay. I'd love to say that's the nerdiest thing I've ever said. It's definitely not. But if I was ever to go moducates, I think I might actually do something similar, just to for a change. Like, you know, get some of the ones that are sideways, that you'd see the ones for the 6 scale, and then maybe just have some of the ones that are vertical to connect in. They customize like to suit your
They do.
needs as well, don't they?
Absolutely. And then I would also say during the holidays, they do their 15% sale.
Mm-hmm.
So I
Right.
bought them at 15% off, which at least
Nice.
in the States equates to like free shipping. It's about the same as the cost of the shipping.
And free shipping for something like that is
So that's,
a big deal.
yeah,
Yeah.
so that's great. But you asked me what else I collect. I collect lightsabers. So I got a bunch of custom sabers, a lot of the Disney ones, some Hasbro, the helmets, quarter scale statues, third scale statues. So I can't wait to just like, it's going to be Christmas when we move. I'm going to have all these boxes, and I'm like, oh, I forgot I had this. You know, it's I'm really looking forward to that. But
And that like, as much as, okay, moving sucks, we all know moving sucks, and the disassembling sucks, but when you're there and you get like a day or two to yourself, like if I know that doesn't happen as much when you got a kid, but every now and then you might get a few hours and half day or a day, you just like, put on a stream or some music, get yourself a beer, and then just like, right, where start building the modification. You're gonna get a buzz from that, getting your lights ready, you're gonna get a buzz from that, and then you're unboxing the figures and posing them the way you want. You're gonna another, that's gonna be, and then when it's finished and you're sitting back looking and going, yeah, we got here. Like, that's good. That's gonna be a pretty cool feeling. Sorry, continue on.
yeah. No, that's about it. And like you said though, getting that all together, and then the final touch is the lighting, and then whatever you do that first day or first week, it's going to look totally different a year from then because you've adjusted the lighting or you've done, something like that. But for me, like, that's the whole joy of it. It's like, some people, this has become less popular nowadays, but people have these train sets and they build on these train sets, and the train's going around, and well, they're never done. They always add another town over here or another thing over here. And I think that's just part of the collector. Collector.
Yeah,
mentality.
I always actually admired those. Like, you'd see them in movies or documentaries, whatever, because they were just like huge. Like, and it was like,
they're awesome.
Just the all the little, like, I can't remember the name. Is it the switch points, or there's a name for it, where the intersections where you can
you can flip a switch and they go that
changes.
way.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's a special train lingo. I'm not sure, but I always thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah,
I'm gonna address some of these comments there real quick. So, should have named his son BB-8. That's funny, but he's the first, not the 8. That's actually clever. I'm telling you, Shiny is just like, his mind works like, I think 5 minutes faster than everyone else's.
I'll keep it in mind for the next one, or the 8th one. Be Shiny.
That'll be a big family.
That'll be your family.
Yeah. Nothing endures but change. Yeah, absolutely. It's inevitable, like Thanos. Happy. Yeah, definitely. We've got X-Man Supreme saying Mike's gonna be a dad in the sideshow commercial when the kids got the figures outside in the sand. Oh
no!
Yeah, that I remember that actually. That was quite funny. Modu cases themselves are addictive. Like, there's an addiction I don't even want to think about.
I've spoken to you about that. Yeah, Railroad Switch.
Yeah, thanks.
But I have to say, Jedi Knight's Watch was very helpful. His channel with the Modu case stuff, and he's answered some questions for me, and so thank you.
It's funny you say that, because I've said this before. Like, he answered loads of questions for me as well when he had the details. He had 5 details as well, and he had this riser, because I was always thinking, like, okay, if I'm getting details, I want them off the ground. I want to give that bottom shelf a bit more respect,
Yeah.
And he had built this, just built a custom riser, just got like, a bit of wood, painted black, and there you go, and just asked me a bunch of questions about it, like, so I answered them. I always like it as well that, like, I feel that a lot of people get Modu cases, and then it's like, I've got Modu cases now. GTOFs.
I'm that guy now. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm not getting rid of these, by the way. They're always going to have a place in my collection. Yeah.
What I was going to say is that Graham sometimes will say, like, he still sees the positives of the DTOFs and having 1 figure per shelf or 2 figures per shelf, just because they're all glass, and highlights it quite well. But he didn't like. I remember him doing the videos of, like, talking about the pros and cons of both of them. It was really, really balanced, and I just like that in a YouTuber or in a person even. Sorry, what were you saying? You're not going to get rid of them?
No, yeah, I've got 2 more of them, so I got 4 in total. And I see no reason to get rid of them. I think they're great. I love that you can see through, like you said.
Yeah,
there are advantages to them. These are a little cluttered because, like I said, I have no place to put these now. But I've got like the 3 figure.
You're in a transition time, a period of
transition.
transition.
I'm in a transition time, exactly. But yeah, no,
Yeah.
hopefully I have enough space. But if space permitting, yeah, I won't get rid of these.
Yeah.
I'll just put the Luke lights in.
Especially
They'll
that you
look
have the
better.
Luke lights. Yeah, they
Yeah.
fill the Luke lights. They just do give it another. They give it just another level, I think. Boba Fettuccine saying, "I wish I had space for some module case towers and a couple of DTOF end caps." Hey now.
Hey now, that's a Howard
hey
Stern
now.
reference that we do
That's
back and forth to one another.
Right.
I used to work for Howard, and I had mentioned that in the chat, and he's a fan as well. So we give the hey now to each other.
You used to work for Howard Stern.
Yes.
Is that not the? Is that the guy? The music guy. He has his radio show and he's the curly hair. Or am I talking about someone completely different?
No, you're right. He's not really much of a music guy, but he's like what they call he was the first shock jock.
Right.
And, so very kind of provocative terrestrial radio personality in the 80s and 90s, and still today. Yeah. One of the big guys in the satellite.
I just remember a few. He pops up sometime on Facebook, and it's like there's these like bands. A lot of times bands I like, and they're like live on the Howard Stern show. I'm pretty sure Queens of Stone Age were on at one stage, and I was like, this is pretty cool. These guys still got it. Because I'm a big Queens of Stone Age fan. Like, you know, you're a big Tool fan.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
I think coming to Ireland.
They were here 2021. I've seen them like 4 times. Like I've seen like twice in London, once in Belgium. I think it was Belgium. Yeah, I think it was Belgium. And then once in Ireland, like last year. I see that they put up new tour dates, but I think they're mostly US based at the moment. But yeah, look, man, any day, anytime they play them, they're so good. You got your tickets, yeah?
Yeah. I picked up tickets for Pennsylvania and Montreal. We're gonna take a trip up there, perhaps.
Cool. Have you seen them before?
Yeah, I've seen them a bunch. Yeah, you know, the last
they just get better and better.
They are. I mean, they're some of the greatest musicians you could see live. It's worth every penny.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. They're just like. They're just unique. Their time signatures, and you know, I love a big epic 8-minute long song where the start doesn't sound it sounds completely different to the end, or those build-ups where something's coming and then there's like still offbeat kind of drum bit, and then bang, in comes a riff like in The Grudge, or even I knew you're a Tool fan because you I think you commented on Matthews, and Matthews is a big Tool fan as well. He's seen him a bunch of times as well. So is Dean Knight actually. But you commented about did you get tickets or something like that, and I just kind of realized, he's a Tool fan as well. So when I promoted this on the story, I have one of the Tool tracks on for you. Nice. I'm just wondering a few people are really curious about they're saying you work for Howard Stern. Is that something you want to explain, or you don't have to? You don't have to
Yeah, no. It was an internship in college, a university, and. It was a funny story. I had met one of the guys from the Stern show out at a bar, and I just recognized him, and I said hello, and I said, I'd love to be an intern there. And he goes, apply. And I was like, yeah, well, I know, but there's thousands of people that want to do that. And he's like, give it a shot. So I did, but I didn't hear from them, and I tried maybe 50 times. I just kept sending in I think I was faxing my application back then. I don't know what I was doing, but finally I just showed up. I got the interview, and he happened to be walking by. He stuck his head out in the door, and I was like, hey, remember me? And he goes, yeah, hire him. And I was like, you're hired. I was like, oh my God. So it was just one of those things, man. It just happened to work out. And so it was cool. I had my own little recording studio, and man, I got to meet so many celebrities and different people from he has a group of people called the Whack Pack, which are like very interesting characters, and I had a lot of fun doing that.
That's pretty cool.
Senior year of college.
And how long were you interning there for?
About 6 months.
That's pretty damn cool. So we gotta basically have to chat here, Tool fans, and some of them are saying big Tool fans, and some of them are saying they're small Tool fans. But I'm just going to move on.
Tool fan.
Try to keep a straight face, to be honest.
Love me a little Tool.
Oh, they crack me up. And Tragedy Tales.
Beetlejuice is funny. Yeah.
Beetlejuice, yeah.
Beetlejuice is one of the Whack Packers on his show.
Right. I see. I hear Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice used to leave. used to leave empty beer cans underneath my desk that I didn't notice.
Right.
And I almost got fired for that because they thought I was drinking on the job, but it was Beetle drinking in my office.
That
So,
is hilarious, and I like
yeah,
him
it was
already.
a lot of
That's such a Beetlejuice thing to do, though. Like, 'cause I was thinking of like Tim Burton,
fun. He would
Michael
do the
Keaton.
same.
Yeah, that is funny. All right, we're gonna get to pick your brain on something else now. All right, so this is you said you're a horror fan, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
So like, I'm just gonna ask you, like, I'll say what are your top 3 favorite horror movies, but you don't have to give them in any order or whatever like that, or even if you can just think of 1 or 2. Like, what are the horror films you're like, you got to see these?
Well, I can cheat and say Alien, but that would be a bit of a cheat,
No, I'll allow it.
Horror, sci-fi, but I'll say definitely Halloween, and I've always loved Rosemary's Baby, Amityville Horror, a lot of the older ones, obviously The Shining, and the classics. But as far as newer ones, dude, have you seen Terrifier 1 and 2? And I hate gore.
No,
I'm shocked
I
that I love these films.
But I've heard like good things. I heard it's bloody good. Like, that pun was not intended, but
they're bloody good, man. And
good.
I've never been I don't like that kind of like gore porn. It just doesn't do it for me, like Hostel and all that kind of stuff. I like the more implied psychological horror.
you seen Hereditary?
Yeah, I like Hereditary a lot. Yeah,
Oh, God, that's just like you just feel uncomfortable watching it.
Yeah,
the whole
that's
movie.
more my speed.
Yeah, just I don't want to give anything away, but just the end and
I know what you're talking about.
It just gives me shivers, man. The whole setup, like.
Yeah.
But I will watch it again. I'm not sure about her. She wasn't the biggest fan, but I think she had to go to bed. She had to go to bed halfway through it. Like, but
my
and
wife.
then I was on my own. I was kind of like,
I'm alone.
yeah. I don't want to like run into any. Yeah, I don't want to spoil it for anyone. Yeah, if you watch Hereditary, it's Hereditary. It's a good watch.
It's a good one. I'm sure after this stream, I'll say like, "Oh, that movie. Why didn't I mention it?" But there's a few good. But I think I named my top tier.
Yeah, cool. Good stuff. Right, so we're gonna do a few back to back. Who's your like? Do you have a go-to retailer? Do you have like Sideshow? That's it. Or I know you mentioned another company earlier on. Or like, do you have like specific companies you're like, yeah, I would recommend these, I buy from these, or do you go for the same company all the time? Or and of course, if there's other companies just like, yeah, I tried them, wasn't good or whatever. What in terms of retailers, how do you feel about the retailers?
I mean, Sideshow is 99.9 for me, but I have tried this new one. Like I said, we'll see how that works out. There's actually a place not too far from me, just over the border in New York. And I was blown away. I walked in there and there's Hot Toys everywhere. And this is not something you see very often. It's about 45 minutes from me. So I haven't purchased anything from them. But
Is it
it's
like a mom and pop shop or?
Yeah, it's just a one-off mom and pop shop. But it's definitely a place that I will be looking at. Say I miss something and they might have it in stock if I miss a pre-order or whatever. But yeah, if you could find a store like that, like I have, I think that's a pretty cool option because most of us are just ordering online or comic shops if you can find. But I find that most comic shops around here, besides Midtown Comics in Manhattan, don't tend to have the higher end collectibles.
Right. And why?
Did I answer your question, Shane?
No, you did. You did.
I rewatched yesterday's stream and I was like, answer his damn question.
No, you did. You answered it right. I'm just wondering, like, why don't they? So you Sideshow 99% of the time. You've tried this new one with the phone number, and there's one about 45 minutes away from you that actually have stuff in hand. But what? Just one thing I didn't pick up on the is it Manhattan Comics? What's it called?
Midtown Comics.
Right.
Yeah,
and
if you ever come here, you gotta pop in.
And what are you saying? They don't have Hot Toys, or they do, or is it just comics? Or
they do. So they've got it's 2 levels, and on the lower level it's all comics, and then upstairs.
I see. I'm with you now.
plus statues and yeah. So shiny. Toys Wonderland. All right. So I actually have purchased from Toys Wonderland and Pop Collectibles because there are two prominent YouTubers that do promote them, and I gave them a shot. And after I gave them a shot, I was told by a lot of people, "You're a dummy for doing that. You shouldn't have done." So we'll see if they ever come through on my orders. We'll see. But I have,
as in,
I have
like
ordered.
you've ordered them, but they haven't been released yet, or something like that.
Right. I have a pre-order from Pop Collectibles and 2 pre-orders from Toys Wonderland.
And the
I ordered them
T-Dubs
both months
ones,
ago.
were they first or second batch?
I did second batch because
Second
it was a
batch.
little
Okay.
cheaper. Yeah.
Like I'm not going to go down the rabbit hole of talking about this because I've done. If you check back through my streams, I've had my experience with them, and
I watched that entire thing, Shane. But it was after I made my order.
All right, right. Sorry, I couldn't help you.
Hey man.
Yeah. Like again, I feel like I've told the story multiple times, so I'm not going to go into the story. But the short version, cancelled in our Joker, got fully refunded, and I had 2 pre-orders left with them that were fully paid off, which I'm waiting on. And I just made the decision that I'm never going to buy from them again. And that's once I've done line understand, that's it. So I'm waiting on the Ahsoka and the Batman that you ordered yesterday. Now the Ahsoka is second batch, and I would just advise that email them and wait until the time it's supposed to drop or whatever. Email them and say, look, this is my order, ship my order. I don't get into the hey, how are you? I just called to talk. It's just like, this is my order number, ship this order. But I found that with the Ahsoka one, which is the latest one, that I just went straight to the here's my order number, ship it, or I'll contact my credit card company the next day. DHL
Nice,
shipping
nice.
notice. So do that, and
Yeah.
if you're not happy, like if it's not with you on the date that it was advertised, mention the credit card thing, and well, you have to be willing to commit to the charge back and stuff like that, but it gets results, you know. And I think when people do
That's
that,
good advice.
but like again, the way I do it, it's like I don't care who buys from anywhere. I really don't, because it's like, it's your money, it's your decision, you know, kind of a way. And I wouldn't let anyone tell me who I couldn't, who I'm allowed to buy from or not allowed to buy from, because no one's going to work for me, only myself. You know what I mean? So
Right. But you're sharing your experience, and that is
yeah,
right,
exactly.
you know?
Because I did buy off them for a while, and I was getting some good deals, but then 1 or 2 went south, and I was like, no, it doesn't make sense. I'm gone. But again, some people have a very positive experience, some people negative experience. Make up your own mind. That's the whole thing. I'm not talking just to you. I'm just in saying that's the way it is. Everyone. So I'm going to address some of these chats here. Just got my last Toys Wonderland figure, and my last Pop Collectibles figure should be here on Thursday whenever I order again. Tell us how you really feel, Philip. So he's fairly to be fair, I haven't had problems with Toys Wonderland besides long shipping times, but they've always got my figure. Well, that's something. And Pop Collectors put me through hell my last pre-order. Okay, cool. Thanks for sharing your experience. I appreciate it. Aman C, I got the shipping email from my Rogue from Pop Collectibles, but only after I emailed them when I heard other people were getting theirs, but the tracking isn't really working out so far. Okay.
I've heard you'll get the tracking and it doesn't move.
Yeah,
Just sits there. Yeah.
That always bothered me. I heard that it's something to do with filling pallets, because I've heard that they get a pallet discount and they're waiting and the pallets are full. So when you get the tracking, you know you're gonna get the figure, but the tracking won't move for about 2 weeks. Allegedly, that's when they're filling the pallets, but I don't know if that's just speculation or whatever. Like, I think the bottom line is that everyone should do their own research and just basically buy from who you're comfortable buying. Maybe sideshows that for you, or maybe I know Tim Sent, or I do a lot of my nearly all my business, not all my business, but I do a lot of my business with Lion Rock because they haven't let me down. But even them, if they do something bad, I'll be like, right, I'm just not gonna order from you again. You know what I mean?
And they're good for the European market, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, because we if I've told this again, I've told this story multiple times before, but the short version is everything in Ireland that we import over €100 is subjected to import tax of approximately 30%. So your Iron Man, if that's 300 from Sideshow, it's going to cost me probably about $60. Standard 6 scale costs $50. Sometimes maybe with the weights or bigger boxes, $60, and then a quarter scale considerably bigger. So you're talking 360. So you add on then 30% of that import, so your $300 action figure is now about $480. Like, that's unsustainable. That's, for me, that's completely unsustainable.
Of course.
So whereas if I buy from, like, say, Lion Rock, or I think maybe Tim Sen possibly as well, definitely from Lion Rock anyway, I don't get charged customs, and they do free worldwide shipping, so that just suits me better. And it's still tracked. It's not DHL, but it's still tracked. But then again, that's me. I'm comfortable with them. I've had good experiences with them. But not everyone's experience with any company is going to be the exact same.
Yeah.
But I just want to address some of these comments here. It's funny, like, if you ever want to just, if there's not much engagement on the old chat and you say Toys One and then
oh, I've seen it.
It's like yeah. So like, look, we'll address these chats and then we'll just move on.
Sure.
So we got where are damn toys? I wonder when they'll land. Nathan Henderson, I certainly knew about TW, but didn't know Pop was sketchy. Okay.
Nathan, I'm not necessarily saying they are. It's just some people have told me to be careful. I just want to be clear. Right. I don't want to.
No, that's fair. That's fair.
Speak from outside of my own experience.
Yeah, and if you listen to people who you respect and you value their opinion, it's like when someone recommends a good movie or band, and you're like, "Oh, I respect your taste," and then someone tells you like, "Don't watch that movie, you won't like it," and you're just like, "Yeah, you know my taste, whatever." But yeah, if you like, if you respect the people and their experience and stuff like that, and they've had bad experiences, well, that's yeah, of course you're gonna listen to people who you trust, basically, I suppose. Only order from Sideshow. Yeah, a lot of people as well, but a lot of people American-based. Chudy's in Texas, so kind of makes sense. I can see why a lot of Americans would be very much a Sideshow exclusively. I just got my inner Joker from Toys One and today. Couldn't be happier, and the shipping was amazing. I can't tell if this is like sarcasm or yeah. How much was the shipping, and where are you based? Remember the shipping that I was quoted was $330, and I was like, no, that's not happening. Chudy, never had a problem from Sideshow. Boba Fettuccine, I bought from Comics and Touring before I knew they were Toys One and them, because I heard of them via a YouTuber I no longer subscribe to. Terrible, no issues since I started ordering from Lion Rock though. Good stuff. I'm actually really, really glad to hear that. And like, I wouldn't put them out there, and I wouldn't be reviewing from them if I didn't think they were a good company, like, to be honest. But again, like, they could make mistakes as well. There's no guarantee. Just because I say I'm buying with them, I wouldn't like encourage people to buy from them. But it's just like, but I suppose I do if I have a good experiences with them, but other people's experiences might be different, so I can't guarantee that. But I'm glad to see that you're having good experiences with them. They seem pretty legit. I wouldn't review them otherwise. Shiny Pop Collectibles are the worst company I've ever dealt with for anything. Toys One are actually better. Tell us how you really feel, Shiny. Damn, I ordered Warner Brothers 100 Wonder Woman and Mr. Knight with them. Hopefully it'll be okay. I only go Sideshow and Pop Culture for battery figures. You're based in Australia?
That's an Australian problem. Yeah.
Yeah. Shipping was the price of a Hot Toys in Texas. Shipping was the price of a Hot Toys located in Texas, and it was less than a week with daily updates from DHL. So it was like $50 for the 2-pack Rooted Joker. Just please confirm that you like that's if you got. I don't understand that then, how people were quoted $330 for DHL, and then it can get to the States for what was the price? What's the price in a normal Hot Toys? what was the price, basically. Breda, how are you, Joao? What's up? And I feel like I need to be more patient when I'm looking at Lion Rock because I want to dopo stuff. And yeah, that's true. That is true. Yeah, a lot of stuff like they don't really do the pre-order thing. A lot of the stuff is like they get it in and then they sell it, so it's not necessarily the same. I did order from Lion Rock a couple of times after you given me positive feedback on them. Good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah, I wouldn't do it if I didn't believe in them. And always love T-dubs. So Joao is a big fan of T-dubs.
So, and he's being sincere?
No, he's completely taking the piss. Nothing he says is serious. That's why we love him. Have you met Joao?
I've seen him around, yeah. But, I was in my comic shop a couple weeks ago, and this topic came up. I was talking to another Hot Toys collector, and I was like, oh, I regret ordering from Toys Wonderland. I'm never going to get my order. And he's like, what are you talking about? Toys Wonderland is amazing. I've ordered dozens of figures from them. And I'm like, really? So, there are some people that still love them and still trust them. So
yeah, and again, see. Like it's
a mixed bag.
Like you gotta go with whatever you're comfortable with, because like it's so everyone, like people's geography is different, people's income is different, people's collecting habits are different, people's risk taking kind of what people are more risk averse. I'm a bit of a risk taker, so I definitely did. I got to order them a good few times. Got a good few figures with them, and then eventually just one or two bad experiences. Like, nah, it's not. And then I won't go with them again. And around the same time as well, it's kind of I had experience with Lion Rock, and they were doing quite well, and I'm happy with their service. So fingers crossed they keep it up.
Yeah.
Casey, where could I order a brand new Hot Toys, say Besman Luke, and get it fast in US? Well, Sideshow Sideshow still be waitlisted though.
The deluxe is still available, but it's still on pre-order.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't have it
you could go with Sideshow. You could reach out to Lion Rock as well. You could reach out to Toys Buying Agent. They have a very good reputation. 1/6 Kit. They're all Hong Kong resellers though, so you might be comfortable with that. Some people are, some people aren't. But yeah. Everyday Collector John, how you doing? Good to see you. John's a member of the Collecting Weekly crew. Bob Fettuccini, I pay Lion Rock an additional $40 for upgraded UPS shipping. I see, and it gets to me somehow in only 2 days. I see.
No, it's not
good
bad.
stuff.
Wow.
Sometimes I skip Shany's comments because I'm like, this is going to be a joke. Lion Rock Toys don't sell rock toys for lions. Don't recommend them.
I think he's serious about that one.
Not the Hot Toys shipping price, but the entire price of an average Hot Toys. Oh, right. Okay. I got you. Okay, yeah. So it was $250 shipping. But Nick, like, that is still better than what I was quoted. But then again, I was in Ireland. But I remember, like, when I did place the order, it was like 95, but they didn't tell you what it was and all or whatever. The American one, they had, like, on the order page for the Root Within our 2-pack, and then they had a little grid and say, if you're from England, this will be much, from Ireland will be this much, or America will be this much, whatever. And I remember the American one being more expensive, so I always thought if I got quoted $330 for DHL, the Americans would get quoted $400 or $450 or something like that. So $250, yeah, if they'd given it to me for $250, I might have taken it, but still I would have been pissed off because it's like, yeah, it's not 95. But anyway, I ended up going with Lion Rock, and I was, happy with them. So I was going to order a figure from TW, but after why the cart didn't work, the price went up to $50. Yeah, I think I'm gonna get back onto this. We're gonna get back onto this because we're getting a bit sidetracked here. Sorry, Mike. Right, so we've talked about the past and talked about the present, but I want to hear more about. This is what I want to hear. Do you have pre-orders that are currently live?
Oh yeah.
Okay. I know that's a stupid question to ask a 1/6 collector. The vast majority of us have pre-orders. Although some people like Dan, he doesn't pre-order, he waits, and I like that, I respect that. So if you could pick any of your pre-orders to magically appear in front of you now, which one would it be? Basically, what 1/6 scale or what pre-order are you most excited about?
I'll give two answers. One would be the Blue Bale Batman.
You are an interesting human being. You are the one guy. No, but you know what? I like the way you're owning that, and you're like, nope,
Yeah.
I like it. I'm sticking to your guns.
Dude,
I respect that.
I said the more people make fun of it, the more I like it, the more interesting it is to me. You know, for some, maybe I'm weird, but it's just such a weird figure that I like it.
Yeah.
Gosh, that's a great question, Shane. I wish I was better prepared for this one.
No, I think you've answered it, man.
I mean that would be it.
One, yeah.
That would be it. That's yeah.
I think
Bane. I'm excited for that Cad Bane.
Keith here, the 6 scale Padawan, he's going to order that Blue Bale as well. Massive fan. He doesn't like Keaton at all, you know. So no, I'm being sarcastic. He gave out to me first, and he's from Ireland as well, and channel member as well, and he's a big 1/6 scale collector, and he's mostly Star Wars. But when I said I was a Bale man, he was a bit disappointed because we're of a similar age. I think we're both around the 40 mark, but he was a bit disappointed. He was like, I can't believe you're not a Keaton man. And I was like, I am, but I just prefer Bale and the Dark Knight trilogy, even though. Yeah. But hopefully I get to meet this guy in person. Dublin Comic Con is coming up, and it's
nice.
Usually I wouldn't go because the guests, I'd be like, I don't know them. But this year they've got Linda Hamilton, Robert Patrick, and Michael Biehn. So
hey man,
I'm doing the whole things. I'm getting the photos. I'm gonna pay for it. Not bad. About $60, $60, $65, $70 for a photo with each of them.
That's really good.
Wow. Good, yeah. I might
just
be
got
a
my
bit
Comic-Con
starstruck.
tickets.
Yeah,
you might be. I would be. Yeah.
I usually won't get. Not much phases me, but I mean, I'll just be like kind of going, "Hi, Sarah." That's not my name. Yeah, I'll be a weird guy, but
it's not.
Yeah. But so we're going to move on to the future, which is kind of often the most difficult thing to talk about, and because, well, like you don't know what's going to change, and maybe you're better equipped because you've had this major life change in the last 5.5 months. Logan's come into your life, and you know you've had to move, and so like maybe you'll be better equipped to deal with this question because you know you've dealt with some of it already. But I'm gonna I always start off this section with 3 simple questions. Do you see yourself collecting in some capacity in 5 years? Maybe you dial back, maybe you don't go on YouTube panels, whatever, but in some capacity, do you see yourself still collecting something in 5 years' time?
Definitely. Absolutely.
What about 10 years' time?
Yeah, I don't see this. I think I'm going to be a very like silly old man one day with my little whatever it is I'm collecting. I don't see myself stopping.
Yeah. Well, you've answered the last question, so because the last question was do you still see yourself collecting in some capacity for the rest of your life? Like I think I'm a lifer. Like I've always collected stuff. I've definitely sold stuff to kind of fund the 1/6 scale, and I have sold some 1/6 scales as well, but I think in some capacity I'll be collecting like right more or less to close to the end.
Yes.
I might not always have a YouTube channel. I'm sure I might not always have a display like this. I might not always have that number, but I might pick, like 10 and go, yeah, they're the ones that I want to bear me with these, please.
There are ways to do it. Like yesterday when Dan said that, he sells to bring in more stuff. Like, I wish we could create that perpetual selling machine where it's just like stuff goes out and comes in and but you're always working at a net loss. You're always buying a little more than you're able to sell.
Yeah.
But I've sold some things.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Because there was like a lot of the stuff I remember collecting when I was a kid, and it was like a lot of the 3 3/4 inch and stuff like that, and some of the kind of cool like Hasbro or Kenner vehicles, and I was like, at some point I was like, these are cool, but like, how are you going to display these? And I have seen some pretty creative displays, but I always thought like there's something I want to collect, but there's something missing. And that's what I really like about 6 scale. They're small enough that you can have multiples of them. They don't take up that much space, but they're big enough that you still have the detail, and I love that, and the realism. Like you
said that perfectly. That's exactly how I feel about it.
It's just I think a lot of that's what attracts a lot of people.
You know,
to
Shane,
that
there's more
particular scale.
detail in some of these 6 scale figures than there are in some quarter scale statues, some
Yeah,
third scale
yeah,
statues.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's amazing. But I started, my
Mm,
first collection was rocks. I was a kid, I collected
mhm.
rocks. My
Oh, you'd
mom would
love
buy me.
Ireland. We've got loads of rocks.
Hey, you
Yeah,
got plenty of rocks there.
yeah,
You
loads of
live on a
rocks,
big
all
farm.
sorts of
I
rocks.
I
Yeah.
would find quartz, you know, and I had
Hmm.
my little collection of quartz and rocks. So there's just
Hmm.
something genetically in some of
Hmm.
us that goes a little haywire and becomes the collector
Hmm.
gene, you know?
Hmm. Do have you watched Breaking Bad?
Yeah, I love
So
Breaking
would you
Bad.
call them rocks or minerals? Because what's the character's name? Is it Mike? No.
Yeah, it's the brother-in-law.
Yeah, Mike,
Yeah,
isn't
he's,
it?
he's minerals.
Was
Yeah.
it Mike? I think I'm wrong. I think Mike was Mike Ehrmantraut was the
Oh
guy
yeah,
who
yeah. Was it Hank?
Hank. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, Hank. Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
These are
I'll
minerals.
call
Yeah,
them minerals to sound
yeah,
more intelligent. Yeah.
yeah. I'm surprised. I need to go back and rewatch it again. It's like my favorite TV show, pretty much ever.
Me
I've
too.
watched it like 3 times over, but I haven't seen it in a good 5 years now. I think so.
You're ready. It's so
Two,
rewatchable,
three
isn't
times.
it?
It is absolutely
Yeah.
like yeah,
Oh my god.
absolutely. So then like I suppose you mentioned like you have module cases on the way, and you mentioned like you're gonna you move into house and stuff like that in the future. Like so, like what does your ideal collection room, display room, man cave, cinema room, whatever you want to call it?
Hmm.
Talk us through your vision. Like that, that's one of my favorite things to hear from people. Just
Oh man.
what is it going to look like? What is your vision?
Well, we have something here in the United States that I've certainly heard my English friends say they don't have, and maybe it's true about my Irish friends. Basements. Are those rare in Ireland as well?
I don't think I've ever been in a basement in Ireland.
Yeah.
No, I've been in a
Okay.
dungeon, you know, but like we
No
have
questions
castles,
asked.
and they bring you in a school tour, and it's like get into the dungeon. They lock you there for 3 hours. The teachers go have coffee. No, that doesn't happen. But they definitely, there is castles you can visit in Ireland. You can actually go into the dungeon and stuff like that. But I don't even think they were under the castle. Like, but yeah, there's basements not really a thing in Ireland. No, and I don't
Yeah.
think they're a thing
Well,
in England.
it's a thing here, and that is a prerequisite. So the collection room is part of the checklist for the house we plan on buying. Like,
Hmm.
if it doesn't have a basement, it's off the list, honey. Forget it, because
Hmm.
I want a basement for the collection. So
Hmm.
that's number one. What's it going to look like exactly? Man, it's going to have those Maji cases, and I think I want to add. And this is Jedi Knight's Watch fault for doing this to me, because he showed me both the 6th scale cases and then the DF cases, and I'm like, which one's better? He's like, well, they're both great. I was like, I know they're both great. Darn it, I got to get them both. So for
Are the
vehicles and stuff,
DFs the ones that are for people who use vehicles?
yeah.
Yeah, I got you. They look
Yeah,
I
so
see
you'll
where you're
get
going with
the depth with that. I have a tumbler, so it's like, I think he's convinced me that I'm probably going to add a DF wall unit to that. So I'll have the 6 series wall unit, the DF wall unit, these somewhere. I'm going to have that accidental purchase Thanos gauntlet on a pedestal somewhere.
that. Mhm.
Big screen TV. Right now I've got a 75-inch.
Mhm.
By the time I get a house, who knows how big that
Mhm.
the
Mhm.
upgraded television will be. But I want that big TV with the good sound, the nice couches, and yeah, I really hope it's a place that's like the man cave thing. I mean, I'm a family man now, so I want this to be a place where we can all go. I want it to be a place where my kids can have fun, and hopefully they understand how to deal with this stuff rather than trash it. And as long as they have respect for it, I would love to be down on the couch watching movies with my kids, with the lights dim and the sabers aglow, and you know what I'm saying, like the lighting in the
Yeah,
case.
I get you. Like almost like kind of like a cinema room or theater room, but
Hmm.
then you have the display around it because that's just practical. Then like it's.
Yeah.
You could make loads of memories in there watching. Who knows what movies are going to come out that your kids are going to fall in love with? Like
Yeah.
Logan's going to fall in love with, and so you have that kind of. It's a practical element to it, but you have the display as well. It's kind of cool. Like you're watching these movies, and then you have your characters from these movies there, and it kind of comes alive. Like I like the way you're going with that.
That's my idealistic vision of it. I know that maybe some parents with kids older than mine are like, good luck with that. You can't let them near that stuff. They might break. And I understand that. But if my kids can respect the museum quality of this stuff, and we can share family night and watch all the Marvel movies together, that's really my dream.
Yeah. And like I always kind of ask myself that question, is like, how do you manage that when kids are around? Like, because like I know you just like lock the door, but I don't know how comfortable I'd be with that, like, and I kind of, you want to share that with your kids, but it sounds like you want to share it with your kids, and like, but it's that kind of balance where you want to share it, but you don't want the stuff getting trashed, but they're kids, they don't know any better. But I see people like Graham at the Jedi Night's Watch, and he's got 2 young kids, and I think Chris Letty's got kids, and a Big Brother's got kids, but it doesn't seem to be an issue. It's almost like it's part of the household, and just you teach them how to respect it and stuff like that. I presume accidents happen, like, cases gets bumped off, and someone takes it down. Next thing, the dog has someone's inner joker in their in their mouth or whatever. Like, but I think
hopefully I can have an experience like those guys do. But like, these are gonna have to maybe go in the bedroom once he starts crawling, because I don't want him banging on a glass case and stuff. But yeah, once he gets a little older, then I would love to share this all with him. He's got a bunch of Funko Pops in his room already and stuff like that. So
that's pretty cool. Cool. So like, we're kind of coming to the end of it now. So there's just gotta ask you the question. I finish. Have you heard the story? Why? Do you know the question I'm going to ask you? The last ever question, by any chance?
I've seen this show enough times I should, but go ahead.
But I'll tell you the story about where I came up with this. Basically, remember I described before, during 2020, I started watching the Scavengers. I'd stay up late. I get some crisps. We call them crisps. You call them potato chips. And then a beer, and I'd put on a stream live, and I'd interact, and just like people, just like we do in the chat. And I asked Chris TC and Brian, I said, if the house is on fire, God forbid, what were the 3 1/6 scale figures that you'd rescue? Yes. And it was the first comment that I think it was the first comment I ever get read out, any of my comments that I ever got read out on any live stream by them. And they had a good, they in fairness to them, they had a good chuckle over it. Like, God, that's a serious question. And they actually, the 3 of them answered, and I loved that, like, because I felt like I was part of the conversation. But so that's why that one, that's the origin of it. So, Mike, God forbid your house is on fire and your loved ones are safely outside. And I know this is a ridiculous question, but you can save 3 1/6 scale figures. What 3 are coming with you?
Anakin on staff.
I'll allow the staff.
We'll count that as one figure. It comes in the same box.
He's attached to it. I'll allow the staff.
All right, so Anakin on staff, and then Durasteel Mando.
Nice.
I just think it's freaking beautiful, man. Yeah. I know everyone loves the chrome and all that, but I love the Durasteel, that Western look.
The cobbled together look. He looked like he'd been through it.
It's excellent. Yeah, it's so great. And then the third one, this is where it's going to get tough. I'm just kind of running. Just like the first thing that comes to mind, because I was more impressed with him than I thought I would be, is the Jango Fett. That figure, I feel like nobody really talks about it, but man, I posed that guy. So it's a tie, all right? Because now I see the corner of your screen, and you remind me, Snowspeeder Luke and Jango, man. Maybe whichever one's closer.
Oh, but, I would definitely push you in the original
trilogy.
Risk it for Snowspeeder Luke. Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. Yeah, he slipped my mind for a second. So yeah, it would be Luke, Durasteel, and Anakin on staff. Those are my 3.
Excellent choices.
Everything's in a box, Shane. So sometimes I forget what I have.
No.
That's storage,
You're going through the transition period, man.
Yeah.
So if you haven't done so already, follow at Thrawn's Office on Instagram. That is Mike's Instagram handle. And of course, if you haven't done so already, consider hitting that like and subscribe button on the channel. Again, massive appreciate to all the people who turned up. Obviously, massive shout out to Mike himself for agreeing to come on and have the conversation. Huge shout out to anyone in the chat who's taken the time to dip in and maybe like the stream, subscribe to the channel, ask a question, leave a comment. Massive shout out to the troopers and the commanders keeping the lights on. I do appreciate your ongoing support. But is there anything you want to like plug, or what are you going to be coming on any streams? Anything you want to like give a shout out to, or?
Yeah, so I've been coming on to Mr. Mom's streams on Sundays, and a huge thank you to Mr. Mom for taking a chance on me and having me on the show, and also I want to extend that to you, Shane, as well. Thank you so much for having me, and thank everybody in the chat and the whole community for being so awesome.
Excellent, no problem. And likewise, just really enjoyed the conversations today and yesterday, and definitely we'll have to have you on again, like if and then see how those pre-orders are working out, and how they're treating you. But yeah, that's pretty much it, folks. I have. Oh wait, no, actually, I do have something planned. Sorry, yeah. So I'll try to get it done tomorrow. But I have finalized the quotes for episode 5 of Shit Collectors Say. It is the definitive one, so yeah, I am gonna put that out tomorrow. I have it kind of loosely scripted. Believe it or not, that crap is actually scripted, but I've not jotted the phrases down. So my goal tomorrow, I'm gonna see The Flash tomorrow at 11 a.m. The Flash actually comes out tomorrow, Wednesday,
Nice.
the 14th, which it's mad. I think it's actually a day earlier than the States. When is it coming out in the States?
It is officially Thursday, but I had tickets for last night. I couldn't go, but officially Thursday.
All right, so some cinemas get a bit earlier.
Well, there was an IMAX fan screening.
Right, I see.
But I had to go to work, so I missed it. But I'm going to be seeing it on Friday myself.
Good stuff. So plan is to get up tomorrow, go for a run, go to the gym, 11 o'clock, see that, come back, and then film Shit Collectors Say episode 5. So hopefully it turns out good, and hopefully people can get a bit of a laugh. And as usual, you know, none of us are innocent. We all used some, if not a lot of these phrases, but yeah, that should be live tomorrow. Hopefully you get get a bit of a kick out of it, and we'll take ourselves. It's huge for me to take myself a lot less seriously than I usually do. So that's it, folks. Yeah, we're out of here. So see you, folks. Bye.
Thank you.
There's a copyright strike. Sorry, we're still live. I'll just have to mute that out. I clicked the wrong button. All right, now we're going. Good luck.